All right, okay. We're just here to talk about Kenny Hyslop, who sadly passed away very recently, and we're all really quite shocked about it. And we're really just here to kind of remember him and just reflect on his time, the time that we've all spent with him, and any memories we've got of him. So I'll pass it to you, Brian, seeing as you're the guy that sort of handed over the sticks, as it were.
Well,
how was that moment for you when you felt that Kenny was taking your drum stool away for you?
I know I wasn't bothered because I left the band. I didn't get sacked like Derek, and it didn't sort of bother me too much who was going to take my place. I was quite chuffed that it was a Scotsman because I thought it was crucial that somebody Scottish would be in the band after I left. And Kenny was obviously a great drummer that I'd known for years through the Zones, and it was the Zones that I think originally that's how I met Kenny, was at the Saints and Sinners gig. We supported the Zones through, somehow we managed to get a support slot. I don't even know if it was joining the Self-Abusers or it was Simple Minds, but which is now King Tut's.
I don't remember us supporting the Zones. It must have been. I don't even think the Abusers were. Were the Zones gone when the Abusers were in the go?
Yeah, I'm not too sure if I might be wrong, Mick, but I'm sure we went to the Saints and Sinners. Might have went to just go and see them. But the Zones were playing in the Mars Bar when Simple Minds were playing in the Mars Bar.
I know. I remember seeing them there as well. It sounded amazing because they had a cool PA. They had gear. But we'd patched up stuff. They had a serious setup. I was blown away with the sound they got.
That's because it was built.
Oh, we've lost that.
He's vanished.
Mr. Wi-Fi.
That'll teach him to keep talking. We'll keep him out.
I think you cut him off deliberately there, Mick.
Is that right?
Cut you off.
What are you going to say, Dan?
I'm just saying, the first time I saw Kenny was at Clouds, which was the Apollo, or Green's Playhouse above there. And it was Salvation was the name of the band, and him and Midge played in Salvation. So when you were up at the dancing or whatever, at that time, that's where they were playing. So I saw them there, and then I saw Slick as well. And obviously when we went to Arista, Slick were on their roster as well.
Oh, I thought it was just his own, because the first time I met Kenny was in Arista in Julie Hooker's office. The first time I actually really spoke to him. Obviously knew who he was because he'd been on Top of the Pops. They were kind of pop star era. They were coming at the back end of the Bay City Rollers and real 70s pop. And I was in Julie Hooker's office and Kenny was there. You know, he always had that sort of style with the flip, the big coats and all that.
40s look.
And he pulled the coat open. And it was all full of 12-inch singles now. Arthur Daly helping himself to records and like, go Mick, nick some records. You know, and we're like, oh, all right, that sounds like a good idea. As if we needed to nick the records, because Julie would have, she would have said, just take them. You know, but I thought it was really funny, me and Kenny stealing the start of a thieving life.
That's very much a Glasgow thing. I think the minute you get an opportunity to blag or steal, then you're in right away. Because we're very poor up north.
And it feels better to steal it anyway, doesn't it, rather than just ask for it.
The better comes out better than a stolen guitar. There was quite a few.
Yeah. No, but he also did this cool thing where, because I think he was DJing quite a bit as well at the time. I don't know if you ever saw him play. I think it was in Linda Lawrence's Bar 10. He did a gig with a drum kit set up, playing records and drumming.
Called me irresponsible with a chemistry set. That was that.
I thought that was total genius, you know, that whole thing. And even when he used to walk around, I mean, that whole tour he did with us, Dan, you must remember how he was always had the headphones on, listening to radio stations.
Yeah.
And one journey from, I think, Melbourne to Adelaide, which was a ridiculous trip, we were all total zombies by the end of it. Kenny was still headphones on, grooving as you come into Adelaide. We're like, what did? And I remember Bruce even freaking out, and because Kenny was so happy. You know, Bruce sort of lost the plot a wee bit.
Well, I shared a room with Kenny in that tour, and he used to wake me up every morning we'd go to bed, we're all pissed and whatever, and you'd get to bed and you were knackered, and then early morning he'd just go up and go, ah, 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 ah. That's how he wakes you up, man. That stuff. It
was that him normal, or was that him trying to just freak you out?
He's bonkers. And
that's because he's a drummer.
He was some guy. He was really, really funny. He was kind of really full of life, and it's a real sad thing. And I think we can put a wee couple of clips up here. We've got, shall I go with Sweating Bullet?
Yeah. Aye.
That's kind of, I think I remember this being in the roof garden, Dan, is that right?
Yeah, that was Ted's the roof garden.
Aye.
Jim had a sty.
He had a what?
He had a sty in his eye.
All right, you're quite quiet, your mic, Dan.
He's quiet.
Yeah, it was the same. It was the same time we did the love song video. Later on that same night, we did the two together, didn't we?
You know what I noticed in all the videos that Kenny's in? He doesn't ever play the kit.
I know.
Yeah.
Was there a reason behind that?
I think Kenny was out of everybody. I mean, I can see Dan there. He's got the suit on, and he's definitely style conscious. But Kenny was always style conscious.
Aye.
You know, he always had stuff that made him be himself. And it wasn't like he was trying to slot into any styles that he thought that we were trying to do. Because for me personally, I'm searching all over the place, trying not to buy something that's so wrong. You know, that was my only thing. I just
you have no style.
Aye, because I was rubbish. Walking down the King's Road at the last minute trying to buy something for this.
Johnson's.
Johnson's. A pair of shoes. You're not even going to see a pair of shoes in this. I spend the whole budget on a pair of shoes. But Kenny always had that same image with the coat in the 1950s, and even his suitcase. Remember the suitcase he had?
Suitcase for leather.
It was all bought, all these second-hand things with all the stickers on it that you see in a 1950s movie.
I think what you don't realise is that Kenny's obviously that wee bit older, so he's from a different generation. He's like your bigger brother.
It's at least 7 years older than you, Mick.
Yeah,
Aye, I know. I was really surprised when I heard that he was that old. I thought he was just a couple of years older than me.
I thought he was ages with Dan, or 70 at the most. But like I say,
Dan is 70, isn't he?
Are you 70 now, Dan?
I'm 68 now.
You're just a...
So he was 70.
No, but Slick was in the jukebox in the Albert Cafe and up beside Holyrood School forever and ever, and that was in the jukebox. So I was at school when Kenny was in Slick.
Aye.
At 15, 16 years of age. So that's how far, you know, he's a different generation, believe.
Aye, totally.
When you think about it.
I know, and that's probably why when I first met him that day in Julie Hooker's office, I'm looking at him, kind of idolising that era, because that era had gone now. You know, the element of punk rock just washed that right into the river.
Yep.
And it was kind of the new kids are here, and it didn't really matter about all the image and all the, you know, the beboppy kind of teenage thing, you know. Sadly, I really wanted that.
He was a bit of a teddy boy, I think. That was more than
Anyway, that was. Here we go to this one. This is quite funny. This was us when we were in Australia, and we're doing Love Song. I'll put a wee bit of the audio up.
Again, he's not playing the drums.
I know.
Snare drum.
Yeah, and
I think Jim looks cool there. Do you not think so? No.
I think we're trying too hard. You know, and Kenny's got his socks on. The belt. I mean, it does look like a teeny bop idol. It definitely, he still retained that pop star teeny bop thing right through his whole career.
He had a fine head of hair.
Yeah. I know, and even I remember, see that keyboard stand, it's just a glass table. It's like, try to minimise everything, because Kenny's got the rototoms that you could see through them. The whole idea was to try and make it look we've hardly got anything at all there. And even when we did the sound check for this, there was no keyboard hadn't showed up yet. And I just stood there like a right twat playing a glass table.
I'll tell
I felt so stupid.
I'll tell you
What?
what the reason for that, us having minimal gear, is because we were playing in Sydney that night, so we didn't bring any gear so that we could get off stage quickly to get into the helicopters, get the plane back from Melbourne to Sydney.
Yeah, right, okay. It sounds
wasn't
like
in-
it's
in the
Get
TV
into
show
the
didn't
hell-
have any.
get into the helicopters. Like,
With two
there you go. I can't remember any helicopter, right? So I'm just
Helicopter.
declaring.
They stopped right at the plane, and we got out and into the jet, taking us back to Melbourne to
It was a
Sydney.
jet now.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
that was a jet.
normal
A
flight,
jet and a
right?
helicopter, then a limo.
600 miles, so it was an hour and a half flight.
In
Yeah.
an ice cream van.
And we went straight on stage, and we still had all the makeup and our gear, our stage gear on. So we must have played with that daft bag and all that.
That's probably what it was.
Lost the bag it never told us about.
Anyway, I thought this
that
was, I thought this was
this
really,
is brilliant.
really sweet.
This is
This was a wee clip that I got from his brother Alan and his wife Alison today. This is Kenny when he was 11 years old. Yeah, obviously, I wondered why the audio wasn't there, but she told me it's because it was a
Super
8mm film with no audio on it.
All right.
No, that's him at 11.
They must have been a posh family when they had video cameras and cine cameras and stuff.
Definitely. Helen's brother. They're all poshed in there.
They are Rue, RHU. That's the posh
What's that?
part, isn't it? Rue.
Is that where they're from?
Well, that's his face for Helen's, but
Mm-hmm.
so Rue is the posh part.
Aye. Oh, is that what it is? Aye.
And I was saying to you earlier on when you're playing that clip, his right hand, he used to do that all the time, that wee flick when he was playing.
It's kind of springing up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a certain style he had.
What was he, self-taught?
I'm not too sure, Mick. I think he looks as if he's been taught it very young, as if he's had some sort of military snare drum techniques.
I think he's doing that as if he's got cymbals up there or more drums as well.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
he might have been in the BB or something.
Aye.
Yeah. And this is the first band he ever had. They were called the Pram.
Aye, the Pram.
The Pram. Look, I just looked at this. You could clearly see that's Kenny, but that looks definitely like David Walliams on guitar and a young Paul McCartney on bass.
I was actually going to say it looks like Robert Fripp on the guitar on the left.
Oh, it does. It looks a bit flip.
Toyers.
Yeah.
They called
see
it
the way-
Pram. They called it the Pram because he took his drums to the rehearsal room in a pram.
Aye, I think that's classic. That would be amazing to see that, wouldn't it? But look at his hand holding the drumstick there. Now that's a kind of old
That's the same
classic
technique.
military kind of style, isn't it? Military drummer style.
The left hand.
The left hand as well. That's a proper.
Aye, that's why I was wondering whether if he had proper lessons or not.
And his cymbals always are flat.
Yeah,
Even in the zones, his cymbals were always flat.
yeah.
Brilliant drummer. He was a right thumper, man. He was really loud. There's Midge.
He used to play. Remember, we had a drum machine. He used to play that as well as the drums.
Aye, that's right.
He was hitting everything. He must have had about 8 hands in there somewhere.
Because it wasn't even running the drum machine. He was hitting the wee pads on the drum machine.
Hitting them, man. He was hitting like cowbells and all that shit.
Aye.
I was going to say was he ever in the Rich Kids? Because Billy McIsaac were they not in the Rich Kids with Midge?
Well, it was
was it just
Rusty
Zones?
Egan. I think it was Rusty Egan was the drummer,
Rusty
wasn't it?
was the drummer. Yeah, no, it was the Zones then, because Billy McIsaac was in the Zones, along with
Wee Willie Gardner.
Kenny, Willie Gardner from Endgames. And who else was?
Russell Webb.
Russell Barr.
Russell
Russell Webb.
No, it wasn't Russell Barr. It was Russell Webb, who ended up playing with.
That's what I said.
Was it Big Country Russell Webb was in, or the Armory Show or something?
He was in the Skids.
The Skids.
Aye.
After his own Skids.
Yeah, and that's obviously the same one for Sweat and Bullet. I don't have a love song actually. Love song is quite good because they all end up in the scrap. Everybody's probably seen the videos for those. That is quite a good picture, isn't it? See, Kenny's still got the same style with the braces and the 50s and the tie and all that.
You all look hobos.
Yeah, I mean, we're
Hopefully.
still, well, for me anyway, I don't know what I want to look like. I'm just trying to, as I say, no blow it, no.
Lola Fanny.
Yeah, yeah.
That was up
I
after
don't, was that where that was? That I'm wondering where that was.
Aye.
Where was it?
Arthur's Seat. It was Jill Furmanovsky, I think, it did it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awards.
Don't remember that either. Where is that?
It's
Oh, I know what that is. I recognise the award.
Sorry.
That's the award for the sell out the Odeon. Because I hang on to that. Did you see that?
Yeah, I remember that, Dan. Me and you met him in Carlton Studios.
Aye, I remember, aye.
Look at the state of me, man. I look ill.
Well, you're
Fine
still
head of hair there.
Aye, the hair. He definitely had the hair, didn't he?
You used to live in the up above Nico's with George Miller.
Aye.
Right.
Tucky Hall Street in a flat, and sometimes you'd go up and have a smoke a dope with him or whatever, and he'd just be heading out clubbing. He was a mad clubber.
Aye.
That suited him because he lived in the city centre with George Miller. So
He was up to Maestro's or something. What was the one up the hill there?
yeah.
Maestro.
Was it Maestro's?
Aye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Half his chump.
I know.
Well, see the chicken. That chicken tells a story because
Here
he was arguing with his wife, and he used to do. She would be saying, "Kenny, you do this, you do that, whatever," and he would just lie down on his back, no like Jim. He would lie down on his back and be like chicken, and go. They cracked up and got a knife and banjoed him with a knife. I don't know what happened.
Oh, so she did.
Laura, she's a lovely lass.
Aye,
She stabbed him, didn't she?
I think
Aye.
so.
That story, man. Jeez, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot he was even married. Actually, couldn't remember.
She was lovely. Laura. They stayed in next to wee Jimmy up that street in
Oh, Wilson Street. Was it Wilton Street?
Wilton Drive.
Aye.
That was it. Aye.
Yeah, that must be him with the dog. I think this is him when he's moved out to the Philippines. Was it?
Yeah, he went to the Philippines.
I mean, I've not seen Kenny for 20, 25 years or something. A long time.
I'm sure I spoke to him on Messenger. That's the annoying part, that we were going to speak to him.
I know.
That
is a real shame.
The Hard Rock, it was a battle of the bands, and I was on the committee along with Bruce Watson and Jamie Watson. That Bruce Finlay came for the final when we got all the bands that were in the final. We broke them all down, and Kenny was in there as well.
Yeah.
Bobby the Barman, he was there. We were all we were the judges basically, and that was the last time I seen him. And he just said he was still going on about Promise You a Miracle, because we know the story what happened with Promise You a Miracle.
I know that was a tough ending that to follow it with that, because there's no question. When Kenny had that whole idea with the headphones and recording all the radio stations, it was a brilliant idea. It took me. I went away and bought a Walkman with a built-in radio just to do exactly what he did, because it was so good. And you could pull back, not only be pulling the tracks off it, you're hearing these New York DJs and stuff all talking, and you know what I mean? It was such a cool thing to do. And when they played that track and we kind of jumped on it, we're like, wow, that's definitely a pop single type thing. It was really pretty much the riff that you and I put together, Dan, I think.
But it was the first four notes, Mick. That's all it was the first four notes.
But even the bass line,
and
that was kind of there as well. And
what was the name of the track that
I can't remember.
Inspired by?
It's floating about the internet. It's there. You can really hear it. You can definitely hear Promise You a Miracle in it.
As soon as it does that, it just says it.
And even though I got angry with Kenny anytime we communicated about it, I was just getting pissed off with him asking about it and telling us. I do feel really guilty about what?
We never knew. We were never told that he was to get in or anything about it. We were too busy working away And we ended up on top of the pops with it when we were away writing for New Gold Dream.
I know, but even if you say we never knew Dan, we still knew that he
No,
wasn't
never.
happy with it, and we still knew that we were there. You know, we still can't really deny that it had really nothing to do with us, because he was part of it. He should have been sort of.
He should have been a finder's fee at least. That's
Yeah.
a whole thing, because let's hear that track. We loved it, and we said, "Oh, we'll try that." And you and I would have written the music to it. But he has that part as well. It's the same as
I'm quite sad that it wasn't resolved. Now that Kenny's gone and it hasn't been resolved, I feel quite bad about that. I wished we had, and I've got to apologise, because I was there and you were there, Dan, and
aye.
I'm sure even Jim and Charlie, given they wouldn't deny that Kenny had a lot to do with that song existing, and that as a result of that song existing, it really gave us a step in the door for a whole new Gold Dream element, and that whole era of let's look at trying to write some pop music.
Aye, he definitely was. He was the catalyst. He definitely was for that.
Yeah, that's a good picture. Really young looking there, and I think that's it back to the front again.
Cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is there anybody else want to say anything? I'm just really sad that Kenny's gone.
I think we're all shocked at the fact that that's another friend of our era passed away, and there's so many we're losing. We're losing Tony Donald. We're losing John Giblin. We're losing lots of people. You know, it's getting to that scary stage in life. But just got to remember them and be thankful for what we had the time with them. You spent more time with Kenny than I did professionally, whatever, but as a guy that you knew from Glasgow and another fellow drummer, it's just a sad wee day.
It is. I know. It's a real shame. So here's to you, Kenny. I've only got a glass of water here, but here's to you, Tom.
Here's to Kenny and his family. Condolences to everybody in his family and friends.
Yeah, condolences to you, Alan and Alison. And thanks for sending in the photographs and the wee clip there. It's really beautiful.
We've got lots more stories, but we can't put it on film.
We can, yeah. Well, once we get the X-rated channel up, we'll go deeper.
You can't use the word deeper and X-rated in the same sentence, Mick.
Okay. Anyway, it's nice talking to you too.
Yeah, see you soon.
Let's catch up soon, okay? All the best.